What's up, everybody? What's happening? Ryan Thomas live on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Once again, bring you another edition of the Thomas Take, and it has been a little while. I will be the first to admit it. It has been quite a bit since I've stepped on the podcast on the audio side of things. Obviously, building the YouTube channel piece by piece, layer by layer, brick by brick, day by day. Minute by minute, second by second, whatever you want to call it, with my podcast channel. People know my face, people know my voice, obviously. I want to really branch it out and make it as best as I possibly can. So that is why I haven't really essentially been on the audio side of things with the podcast. I've been doing the visual side of things with the podcast. And what I'm going to look to do from here on out is actually do a simulcast, which I've done on YouTube and Facebook, but I'm going to do it on YouTube, Facebook, and obviously Spreaker.com, which is what this podcast episode is streaming on. Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker.com. The Thomas Take Sports Podcast. So, thank you all for tuning in. I'm Ryan Thomas once again. To introduce myself, allow myself to reintroduce myself, as Jay-Z used to say, back on the podcast. And there's a lot to talk about, safe to say. So to go through the set list of this show, today's show, we're going to start off by talking about the Cavs-Warriors Part 4 Finals. The fourth straight season, eighth straight season that LeBron James was featured in a NBA Finals matchup, the eighth straight year. And going into this series, I thought that the Warriors would win in 5. I gave the Cavs one game. I thought they could win game 1, and they should have won game 1 had it not been for that J.R. Smith blunder, which was one of the worst gaffes in NBA Finals history. And outside of that, I did not see them winning this series. I thought game 1, they might be able to take it just based on, being 0-0. Everybody's kind of square, they would have a shot. If they don't win that game, they'd get swept. And that is exactly what happened. Now, let me preface my statement by saying that by no means was this series with the Cavs and with the Warriors a win for the NBA. This was not a win for the NBA. To have the same two teams in it year after year after year after year, it's becoming a parody in sports, and it is also becoming a little bit stale in terms of this quote-unquote super team era that we are living in the NBA. And as much as I've criticized the NBA, I've said the NBA stands for not basketball anymore, and then I would rather see a Legends League where we have guys like Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson at their age now playing against each other. I have gone out on a limb and have said I would personally rather watch those two old farts step on the court and play one-on-one than watch this. And by this, I refer to Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson running roughshod on the NBA with Andre Iguodala, with some of the role players that they have. It has become extremely boring to me as a sports fan. I've tried to somewhat become an NBA fan. I've tried to get back into it. The Celtics are the team that I've always rooted for. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan. Traditionally, if a team is not in Buffalo, if a league doesn't have a team in Buffalo, I'm going to root for Boston. That's my favorite city outside of Buffalo. So that is why I root for those teams. And my grandfather was a huge Red Sox fan, huge Celtics fan, and that's why I root for those teams. The Celtics are getting better. If we look at the state of the Eastern Conference, the Celtics are getting better. The Celtics had a fantastic season despite the loss of Gordon Hayward, despite the loss of Kyrie Irving. We can all agree to that for sure. We can also agree to the fact that the Celtics will be even better with some of the players that they have coming up and those guys back, healthy, ready, willing, and able to step out onto the court. Now the Cavs getting swept by the Warriors in this series LeBron James steps off the court, gets the standing ovation, whatever. That, to me, didn't allude to the fact that what most people are saying right now this morning. Most people are saying LeBron's a quitter. Most people are saying that he is in over his head, that he'll never be as good as Michael Jordan, that this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Let's just stop. Let's just stop. What that moment meant to me, watching that game last night, is the fact that was LeBron James. That was his last outing as a Cleveland Cavalier ever. It is done, signed, sealed, and delivered that his days in Cleveland are over. Enough with trying to make the Cleveland Cavaliers better. The way it went down, trading Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love, I thought was a huge mistake. Not so much trading for Kevin Love, but trading Andrew Wiggins in that trade to get Kevin Love was a mistake. Kyrie Irving wanted his own role, wanted his own team. And that left them without that true point guard that they desperately needed. J.R. Smith staying on the team despite some of the slip-ups that he's had the last few years in the NBA Finals. I know that's LeBron's boy. I know that's his guy. But Kevin Love is a shell of himself due to the fact that he has the anxiety issue that he has, due to the fact that he's not playing in the same role with the Cavs that he played with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's just not. He's the number 3 guy rather than the number 1. Playing on a team with LeBron James, you do have to change your style to play to cater to his style. Because if you're playing with the best player in the world better damn well have the ball in his hands. And I truly believe that was the last time we will ever see LeBron James in a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey, which is a true shame for the way that it went down, for the way that he went out. I think he actually will go out worse this time around as a Cleveland Cavalier than he did the last time, especially given the fact that his last game was a 4-game sweep series versus the Golden State Warriors. Now, everyone in their right mind knew that Golden State was going to win this series. It was not a shock that Golden State won this series. What was the shock was the way it went down. Losing by over 20 points in Game 4 is not good. The real question is, after watching this game, if they can beat the best player in the world, who can beat them? Who can go tit for tat for them? We're with them, with Golden State, as the best team in the world, which that, to me, would mean LeBron James, his only shot at beating those guys is linking up with the Houston Rockets to join Chris Paul and James Harden, building another super team in Houston, Texas. LeBron James is a Dallas Cowboys fan. Maybe that'll become a reality. Or the Philadelphia 76ers are much, much better than people realize. Joel Embiid is a stud player, and they have a lot of ground to gain in getting a guy like LeBron James. I would anticipate that the 76ers and the Houston Rockets will go hard in the paint, pun intended, for LeBron James. That has to happen. Because Philly is looking to supplant Boston, Houston is looking to supplant Golden State, LeBron James is looking to supplant Golden State. If they can build that super team in Houston, force the Western Conference Finals to be the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets, minus the Chris Paul injury in Game 5, the Houston Rockets had the Golden State Warriors on their heels without LeBron James. They forced that Game 7. So that is the team that I would anticipate that LeBron would go to. And all this crap about, he'll leave Cleveland in the dust again. Realistically, if I was LeBron James, which I am not, but if I was, I would have left Cleveland the moment they won that championship. Down 3-1, the comeback, they win that finals, I would have left that season. But that didn't happen. He's got to opt out July 1st, and the NBA is a big day. And I don't think LeBron will be a Cleveland Cavalier anymore. Now, he could try to make the Cleveland Cavaliers better than they were before, but I just don't see it. And let's talk about the Warriors for a second. People were so up in arms a little bit about how, Curry and Durant had a little bit of a beef and all that stuff. Really, the only team that could beat the Warriors is the Warriors. They have to stay on an even keel. If they want to stick together, they have to be willing to take the back seat, which I think they are, which is why they're winning. But I do have some worries as far as they'll keep winning, but at some point, some player is going to get bitter with the other. That's just the way it works in basketball. Some player will get frustrated with the other, and this situation will go awry. It will happen. I don't know when, but it will. You have 3 Hall of Famers on that team. You have Steph. You have KD. You have Klay Thompson. All 3 of those guys will probably be in the Hall of Fame in basketball. I'm assuming as long as they're doing what they're doing, as long as they stay together, they will. And the criticism for LeBron, I really feel is unfair. I mean, they were not up to par with Golden State. Everybody knew that. And not only that, but guys playing with a bruised eye, not making excuses, but it's just reality. It was not he didn't have a good shot. He didn't have a fair shot at beating those guys. He's got his team, they have their team, but their team far outweighs the Cavaliers. Far outweighs the Cavaliers. Depth, everything. Coaching. I'm not the biggest Steve Kerr fan on earth. I think he sticks his nose in other people's business far too much. But Tyronn Lue versus Steve Kerr in terms of their coaching ability, I would side with Kerr for sure on that one. So what will happen with LeBron James? Why do people criticize this guy as much as they do? 3-6 in the finals. Yeah, he's 3-6 in the finals, but he's been to 9 finals. 9. That is ridiculous. He'll probably be in over 10 when it's all said and done. Depending on the team he goes to, he could be in it for the long haul. Chris Paul's his buddy. I've heard things like him and James Harden kind of butt heads a little bit, but whatever. They'll make it work. I'm sure they will make it work. July 1st, I think LeBron James will be a Houston Rocket. And if that is the case, that is the only way you can beat Golden State. I think Philly might be the second option there, but it would be pretty tough. I'm Ryan Thomas. It was part 1 of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. The Golden State Warriors sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-0 in the 2018 NBA Finals. Not a win for the NBA. This is not a win for the NBA by any stretch of the imagination. It was a terrible series, and something's got to give. Take care, everybody. We'll be right back.